Good afternoon, viewers. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, Assistant Professor in Marketing and Strategy area. And today we are going to have a very interesting discussion on a very important topic, training of the sales force, which is part of your MMPM 02, Block 3, and Unit 7. So, viewers, let's understand why the training of a sales force is gradually gaining currency in this world of marketing and sales. With the rise of industries, with the market becoming more dynamic, with the competitors emerging from nowhere, and the industry going for a massive churn, we are going to be solely dependent on how successful our salespeople are going to be like. And how to really judge the success of a salesperson? It is purely judged by his performance, by his outcome, how much he is able to really generate from the field. How he is really well equipped to generate sales in the field is depending on how well he has been trained or how knowledgeable he is about your company, about your product, your services, about the territory, about the consumer psychology, about so many other plenty of things. So we are going to address all these issues in the next 1 hour, one by one. Let's understand what is the responsibility of the sales manager. What exactly is expected out of the sales manager? Is it simply his job that he is going to be guiding and motivating the salespersons working under him? No, that is only part of the job. I think the more demanding part of his job is how to really train the salesperson who are going to be working under him. Because of the very simple fact that if he doesn't train his own salespeople, he may not really expect quality results. Results will come anyway. But if he is really interested for quality results, he may not get it. Why he may not get it? Because the market is not comprising of the sole salesperson that his company is employing. The market is full of talented, qualified, smarter kind of executives or sales personnel who are going to be taking the customer away from you. So what you need to do is you have to equip your own sales team or your sales fraternity with the kind of knowledge, with the kind of elements of understanding of human psychology well enough so that they can really outsmart the other guys working for different companies and bring success to your own company. So let's understand what exactly is the training journey, like how does it start and where does it end, and in the process, what it really promises to accomplish for the company. What is the importance of salesperson for business success? There is no debate on this. This is really totally dependent on the salesperson for the success of the business. So, what are the policies for developing and retaining a successful sales team? That is also going to be having a share in the discussion part. We are also going to throw light on the nature of the sales job. In that, we are going to cover distinctive characteristics of sales-related jobs, characteristics including managing territories, ICT impact, travel challenges, job monotony, and of course, the most important is the team effort. Implications for recruitment and selection policies, that is also going to be taken care of by me during the course of discussion. And I am also going to try and throw light on the Salesforce management in the marketing department. How do they really get managed? How successfully they really get managed in the marketing department? That is also going to be the topic for discussion. And also, I am going to be equally interested in trying to tell you about job analysis, starting point for creating job descriptions and job specifications. So let's understand each of these concerns gradually. Let's understand the entire recruitment process. The recruitment process overview, like planning involving analyzing personal needs, job qualifications, and company culture fit. You might be wondering, look, here is a company who has really, kind of asked for my own kind of selection process, but I, at the end of the day, got rejected by the company. You might be wondering, what exactly have I really done wrong? Well, you might be very well qualified, you might be having all the kind of talents in the world, but still you are going to get a rejection slip because probably the company decides that the culture that they do have at the moment and the promise that you show as a candidate really do not match properly. So recruitment is not just trying to find out the best guy in the market. It is also trying to figure out whether the person whom we are going to be selecting is really going to be having a cultural fit, a cultural sync with us or not. Okay. But before that, we as a company must understand that how many kind of people we are in need of, what kind of talent we are really going to be requiring for our organization. It all depends on the job that the organization is going to be having to be done. No, the concern is if I understand well my own manpower requirements, if I really know that these are the kind of people, this is the number of people that I really require, then my job becomes pretty easy because I go to the market with a very strict focus that I am going to be trying to figure out whether the person who is really going to be selected by my company is really demonstrating these kind of these kind of qualities by him or not. If I get it, then it is fine. If I don't get it, I would rather come back, kind of without any person being recruited, but I am not going to recruit the wrong person. So let's understand another issue like personal needs and attrition. We must also understand that there is going to be turnover, whether you are a great company or you are a very successful company or you are promising so many things to your employees and all. End of the day, people are always going to be really looking for greener pastures somewhere else. So you as a company has got to accept this fact that whatever may be the kind of benefits or the facilities that I'm going to be providing to my own employees, at the end of the day, some employees might contemplate quitting my organization or switching to a better organization or switching to an organization which they feel is really going to be taking better care of them. That is obvious thing which an organization should really be ready to accept. So how do you really calculate the attrition rate? That is also going to be discussed. Importance of managing and controlling turnover. Well, like I told you, turnover is inevitable. People are going to be joining your organization, they are going to be working out of your place. You are going to be doing whatever possibly the best that you can do, but still you cannot really retain all the employees all of the time. And many times it is also observed that you will find a reason why a person should not be retained at all, even if a person decides, well, he has made up his mind to really move away from your organization to somewhere else. Sometimes the more prudent HR people, they always tell that, well, let's not stop someone who is absolutely convinced that he is not going to stay here. But yeah, there might be exceptions where if you're losing the best of the talents, the key people, as they say, or the people who are the key contributors or the maximum contributors to your organization success, if they decide to really say goodbye to you, then probably you are having plenty of reason to really get panicky. But again, as I said, this is also part of the game. People will always really try to relinquish your job, your kind of organization to really search and figure out another job in another organization, maybe in different part of the geography. Company's work culture is again pretty important. Recruitment is linked to your core values. I think the major discussion point in the last 5 years and in the coming 10 to 15 years is revolving around the work culture. People are not joining organizations because the salary is pretty much lucrative, because of the other conditions that are being made, because of the region of job satisfaction, because of the region of, let's say, staying nearer to your hometown or staying nearer to your family members. These are all pretty old-fashioned kind of a thing. Now, what is really being given more importance is whether the work culture that you really exhibit, the work culture that you really try to give to employees like us, is it really healthy for us, positive for us, good for us or not? If the work culture is poor or negative or even average, so to say, probably many employees are really going to be giving it a real second thought to join or not to join. So you as an organization or you as a company has got to be very sure about one fact, that you are going to be providing the best possible work culture to your own employees in order to retain and even kind of invite the best of the talents possible from the market. Mismatch impact on attrition can be, many people leave nowadays not because they are really not happy with the compensation, not because they're not really happy with other kind of tangible material benefits. They are quite happy with it. The company takes care of their kids' education, the company takes care of the medical expenses, the company provides them accommodation, the company provides them kind of discounted kind of food items and all. Everything is really going their way and going pretty nicely their way, but still they really feel a sense of vacuum when they really come back to their home after doing a hard day's work in the office. If you ask them, come on, tell me what exactly is the reason for which you're not really so much excited about your job or you're so much really happy about your job, the answer is probably nowadays more often than not tending towards something which is not really seen, let's say, 10, 15 years back. People are always going to be complaining about nothing else but the work culture. Somehow I don't fit into the way the things are really getting done over here. Somehow I don't really fit into the kind of culture that you people are really demonstrating for the people outside. So if there is a big or a huge mismatch between the culture that is being propagated and the person who is going to be working over there, if it is not really having an adequate match, then the chances are that your attrition rate is going to be even more higher. So to sum it up, positive work culture for employee satisfaction and retention is a mandatory must. So what is that positive work culture? We'll have a discussion. Let's understand for the timing that in a kind of workplace where the employees' feelings, employees' talents, employees' skills, employees' emotions are being met, that is when the employee feels involved. The employee feels that, well, I'm not merely a worker in the organization, or I'm not merely an executive in the organization, or I'm not really merely contributing as a professional. This organization belongs to me. I'm a part of it, and I'm a pretty important part of it. So if you make me feel that I am an important part of your organization, then probably the commitment, the motivation, the involvement, the kind of indulgence that really comes spontaneously from an individual is really going to be evolving even to a higher level. So you have got to ensure that your work culture is everything for the employee, whether he is a fresh one or is working there for last 10, 15 years or is about to retire. He is not really going to be feeling happy if everything else is being taken care of except work culture. Reverse it. He is going to be really feeling completely happy if everything else is not given, but the work culture in which he is really working is absolutely rewarding and kind of giving them the kind of positive experiences. Essential for job analysis, you know, the task, the benchmarks, and expectations. Well, sometimes the organization feels that, well, the employee's primary responsibility is to do the jobs. That is okay. They have come here to work for you. They haven't really come here for merrymaking and all. It's not a country club. So what needs to be understood is that, apart from tasks that is going to be assigned to your employees, you also should be very clear in your head that this is the benchmark. Otherwise, the employee doesn't know what he's really doing. He might be operating in a sense of vacuum. Look, I do not know what is exactly expected of me. So your expectations, your benchmarks, your tasks should be absolutely transparent to the employee. He knows for sure from day number one that this is expected of me from day number one by my organization, from my superiors. As simple as that. If I know it, then I will strive hard to really try to reach to as close as possible to the task that you have given to me, to the benchmark that you have set for me, and to the expectation that you have really reposed on me. So there should be a proper synergy between expected task and actual job that is really going to be done by the employee. Why is it so? Because sometimes you fail to express your own expectation of the employee. The employee doesn't have any clue at all regarding what is really the expectation of my boss from me. And one fine morning you call your own subordinate or your own junior and try to kind of shout at him or scold at him. She doesn't really understand. Come on, why this scolding is? I mean, what is really the reason for this kind of a shouting at me? He doesn't know because you have never really been expressive enough to try and take the employee into confidence and help him appreciate this is the clear-cut expectation that you are having from him. Go tell it. And the expected task and actual job that is being done, if there is a gap, primarily it is due it is due to the fact that you have failed to really make the people understand what exactly is expected of them. Moving on, let's understand something regarding your job description and your qualifications. What is that job description and what is that qualification? Job description includes tasks, outcomes, and reporting structure. Reporting structure is the most vital thing that an organization should really have a proper clarity about. Who is reporting to whom? I cannot be reporting to multiple bosses at the same time. Multiple people cannot be really commanding my attention and should really expect that they're really going to be getting it. So I should have a single reporting system or a single reporting structure where I am going to be reporting to Mr. X or Mr. Y or Mr. Z. That is it. I should know for sure that he is my reporting authority and nobody else. I am not going to be really taking multiple orders from multiple people from multiple departments in the same organization. That really makes my job pretty much kind of hazy or pretty much kind of kind of random. I cannot afford to do it. See, your sales representative job description. For example, what do you expect your sales guy to be really doing in the market? You want probably 3-4 things, like you should have the skill to really try to understand the market well. You should really be able to having the knack of kind of striking a good, healthy, positive conversation with an unknown customer. Try to understand what your competitors are trying to do, and of course, try and really generate sales at the end of the day. If you really indulge in a lot of research and research and research only, and really come back with again the research data only without any sales being done, then probably you are not truly into sales, you are into something else, which I really don't expect out of you. Fine, you do your research for your own convenience, you do your kind of activities which are really going to be helping you get a customer more skillfully, more quicker than anyone else. But it should ultimately be linked with whether you are able to generate sales at the end of the day or not. You should have the proper kind of knowledge, like knowledge about what? Knowledge about your products, knowledge about the intricacies of the product. That is more crucial. You should not be just sounding like you have been told to go and sell the product and that's why you are doing it. You really don't know the ABC of your product. This is unpardonable, a kind of a mistake that a salesperson can really ever afford to do. So you have got to understand that having good amount of product knowledge is a must for you. You should know the history of the product, you should know the composition of the product, you should know the way the product is going to be helping the customer in trying to solve his problems and all. And you should also know that this product is not really a mechanism of delivering to you the services that you want, but it is also going to be really kind of being seen as a kind of a status symbol for the customer. If the product really fits into that kind of a category, you can also go and tell it in that way. So having complete product knowledge and having that aptitude towards sales, that is more crucial. I think the traits and the aptitude, when you talk about that really covers things which are not really being kind of trained to a salesperson. You cannot really train a person, be it a salesperson or anyone else for that matter. You cannot train a person for aptitude. You can't really train a person for traits. These are inherent qualities that a salesperson really comes up with. So the aptitude should be correct. I do have a hunger for sales. I do have an appetite for really meeting customers and trying to convince them about my product and services at my company and all. That is really going to be coming from within you. It always springs out of your own kind of a system. And the traits are even more important. What are the traits? Do you have a never say die kind of an attitude for anything that you try and take up? Or do you kind of exhibit this kind of quality, like just easily giving up? Look, customer said no, I said no, fine. If you are having no as an answer, I don't really try to kind of make you feel convinced about my product anymore. No, you should have the trait where you are going to be sticking to the customer as long as you feel that yes, here is at least 1% chance of converting the customer. Let me give it that. So what is the purpose of recruitment? Pretty simple. The purpose of recruitment is to plain and simple find suitable applicants. So what are the factors that will affect applicant numbers and acceptance rate? Well, if you are living in a country like India and you really go and float an advertisement for any kind of post by any kind of company, and if you are really a reputed company, the applicant numbers always shoots up. So if it is having a very high number of applicants, then what do you do about it? Let's say you have got only 3 or 4 vacancies in one particular kind of a state or in one particular kind of a zone. Then how do you really try to assimilate all these applications, maybe turning to some kind of thousands? If it is, let's say, 10,000 number of applicants just applying for 3-4 posts, what do you do about that? You cannot really go and have the next round of your recruitment process with this many number of people. So you have got to really understand that I should have really the ability to bring it down to a possible limited number of applicants which is acceptable to me. What are the sources of applicants? Let's understand. Advertisements, like I said, that is the best source. But probably in today's world, we are really gravitating away from the so-called typical advertisements to job portals now. Referrals are pretty interesting. You can have a system of internal postings as well. So let us understand what you gain and what you lose if you go by advertisements, job portals, referrals, and internal postings. Each source, let's understand one thing, each source yields diverse applicants. If you are having a referral system, for example, versus you are really going to go through the job portals. In job portals, you are not really going to be restricting anyone to really apply for the said post. Anyone who comes across this advertisement, this particular kind of a clipping of yours, is really going to be interested in applying for the said kind of a job. In referrals, it's not really out in the open. You are not really going to be trying to tell the entire public, look, this is an advertisement for all of you. If you are really meeting the minimum level of basic qualifications and experiences and stuff like that, you can always apply for it. No, you're not doing it. You are just going by your own trusted people who are going to be referring the candidature of someone else whom they know personally well, who can really certify to their credentials, to their ability to perform in the kind of organization that he is supposed to work. So this is probably becoming more like an acceptable method of really trying to get the talents than going to job portals or advertisements or even internal postings. In referrals, what really happens? Why I'm really focusing on referrals more, because in the last 5 years, probably my experience tells that many people have got into good companies or reputed companies by referral than by any other means. The reason is pretty simple. I trust my own employee and I trust my own employee's instincts or the ability to choose another potential employee, because his reputation is also going to be at stake if the candidate that he refers really doesn't perform according to the expectations. So he is not really going to be trying to be damaging his own reputation by the company people. So the consideration is based on requirements and past experiences. Well, what kind of requirement you do have and what kind of past experience you do have. If your past experience about the open advertisement is very negative, the next time you are thinking of it, you are going to be staying away from it. That's for sure. If your past experience for even the referral system, which I was really promoting just a few seconds back, if your past experience of the referral system is very horribly negative, then the next time around you are really going for any kind of recruitment or any kind of referring to any kind of individual, you are going to be staying away from it. It all depends on what kind of requirement you do have and what kind of past experiences you do have. If the requirements are really going to be more suitable to job portals, go for it. If the requirements are more suitable to internal postings, go for it. If it is more suitable for referrals, you can go for it. And if it is more suitable for advertisements, you can also go for it. But there is a catch. The catch is you are always going to be dictated by your own past experiences. If your past experience has been a healthy, positive, and nice, you really continue the same kind of a journey or a path. And if it is negative, you are taking a very conscious decision not to really repeat your mistakes. Simple. So what are the recruitment sources, like the traditional and the contemporary? Let's understand what are the various different recruitment sources. Excuse me for 10 seconds. Like I told you just 1 minute back, advertisements can be a nice source, a very credible source also, because this is out in the open and you are really going to be helping all the job aspirants to really have access to it. Like the traditional media, print media particularly in today's context, which is very cost effective, and of course you can really go for quality improvement, which next subsequent kind of advertisements. Employment agencies can be a good source. You can really go for screening of many candidates. You can really have a long-term relations with employment agencies who are in direct touch with campuses, with potential kind of people who are in search of a job and all. And you can also go for online advertising, which is really having its own benefits and its own drawbacks as well. What are the benefits? That it really makes your process pretty quick. It is very fast. right? You advertise and give a deadline of 3 4 days, 4 5 days, and you really get all the applications online. You really go for scrutiny and you really try to set certain kind of parameters for it. You reject many of the candidates, try to have only kind of interaction with the chosen few, and you really make up your mind pretty quick, even without really moving an inch from your office. So you are saving on your time, you are saving on your money, you are saving on your energy as well. So you're not really moving an inch from your office and you have really got your candidates. That's it. Many good companies, many successful companies who are really stationed abroad, they are going to be really doing this, and they have been very successful, very credible in doing it. The other thing that can really happen is the campus hires. Okay. So if you are sorry, if you are expecting entry level kind of jobs, or entry level kind of candidates rather say, with additional training, of course you are going to be training your own people that you are going to be recruiting, and you want just fresh candidates straight from the campus, bubbling with energy and positivity and the youthfulness and all. Then the campus hires are the best bet, for the very simple reason that these people have got a clean slate. They do not have the kind of the preconceived notion, so to say, about the jobs, about the bosses, about the company, about the the so many intricacies of it. They are absolutely fresh, ready to take challenges, ready to learn, ready to jump into the sea, so to say. So they are going to be really kind of the firefighters for your organization. That's a pretty healthy source as well. The other source can be the salesperson of non-competing companies. Well, nowadays, you are going to be changing or switching from industry A to industry B to industry C. I have seen people migrating from retail into insurance, and again from insurance to FMCG, and again back from FMCG to some kind of metal companies and all. Okay, so there is no restriction regarding, look, you do have experience of insurance, and I'm not going to take you into telecom, or you have experience of, let's say, banking industry. I'm not going to take you into my kind of SIP, or something of that kind of a thing. So this is going to be the salesperson from the non-competing companies, who can really be a good source, because the prospect is attractive and the experience can really be transferable. Internal transfers can be a good source again. You are going to be really putting person A in instead of workstation B, you are going to be putting it in workstation C. So what is the advantage of it, and what is the disadvantage of it? The advantage is that they are familiar with the company, and your evaluation of the person is going to be too accurate, because you know this person for last so many years. So you cannot be really kind of taking a guy who is not really good enough for your organization. You know him, he has been working in your organization for more than 5 years, more than 10 years. You know him as a professional, you know him as a human being, you know his credentials, you know what he can do, what he cannot do, you know his strengths and weaknesses. So you are almost too familiar with the person. So your evaluation is going to be bang on. This is going to be a complete, accurate kind of evaluation, which is not going to be ditching you in the long run. The problem with this internal transfer is, well, you might feel that the person who has really come from workplace A to workplace B may have the baggage from workplace A itself. He might be thinking that, look, I have been doing this work in this old-fashioned way, or in that particular kind of a way. Let me carry that baggage to my new kind of a job, which really may not be really working nice for the company. So that is probably, to my mind, the worst that can really happen in the internal transfers. The rest of the things are pretty positive and good for your company. Employee referral, like I was vouching so much for it. Employee referrals are insights into work culture and incentives. So you are trying to bring in a person by using your existing person in the company or in the organization. That is really going to be very rewarding, because the person who is going to referring to someone from outside is going to refer a person with whom he is comfortable, about whom he really knows a lot, and he is really not going to be tarnishing his own image, because if he doesn't perform according to the expectation of the company, then this man is really going to be taken to task, and he knows it. So who is really going to be ready to sacrifice his own self-dignity just by referring a wrong person? Nobody probably will do that. So that is why it has really gained currency nowadays, and really gaining increasing currency with each passing day, I would rather say. Salesforce recommendation can be the the next source. The salespeople who are really working day in, day out in the field, they have got broad social networks. When they are interacting with people from other kind of companies or from other kind of industries, and they're really having a get together, they really understand each other well, they know each other. So they can really be recommending the people who they feel are really going to be good enough for your kind of workplaces. Well, now let us understand the selection process. Objectives, policy decisions, and range of selection system complexity. We are going to have an understanding of that. What is an application form? Short and detailed types, objective scoring example, information on application form, other selection tools. We are going to be gradually understanding all these kind of things. Let us understand the various processes or the various tests that people really conduct to really try to recruit people. One can be interview or so to say face-to-face interview rather. Okay. So in a face-to-face interview, what is more important is two-way communication. Okay. And in two-way communication, you tend to know your interviewee more. Maybe you can complain, look, I'm just going to be spending 10, 15, 20 minutes with a completely stranger kind of a person. How do you really know more about him? You don't have to, but you have an inkling of an idea regarding whether the person is really good enough or not. That is really going to be helping you in the long run. Interpersonal behavior testing. If it is an interview process, then probably this is the best way in which you can really try to understand whether the person sitting in front of me is having good kind of interpersonal behavior skills or not. But again, like I said, this interview process is also having its own kind of drawbacks. Okay, the drawback is in a major way, like whether you are able to avoid the biases or not. I am from Odisha, you are from Odisha, I am from Maharashtra, you are from Maharashtra, I am a Telugu speaking person, you are a Telugu speaking person, I am a Tamil speaking person and you are a Tamil speaking person, I am a Hindu and you are a Hindu, or I am a Muslim, you are a Muslim, or I am a Christian and you are a Christian, or I am from India and you are also from India, we are meeting in Germany, whatever may be the common points between both of us, that may really emerge as a very strong reason to really get biased in favor of someone. You cannot, even if you try your best, you cannot at some point of time really try to be too much neutral or too much unbiased about people, because it's like a human nature, human tendency that I am really going to be finding out someone who is more like me. That more like me is really going to be creating a lot of favorable bias in within you. So you might be really going to have these common questions, I'm really going to be having the same set of questions to ask to all sorts of candidates, which is really going to be giving me a general kind of a perspective on many issues. Like, for example, I ask a person, tell me about your family members, tell me about your past, tell me about your future expectations. These are all pretty simplistic common questions where I cannot really try to figure out whether the person telling it in this fashion is different from telling it, who is telling it in different fashion. It's not really possible to really try to figure out in 10 minutes kind of a time. Interviewing decisions and your interviewing techniques. Sometimes the decision to interview to a selected group of people is not the best decision, because of the very simple fact that the person who has really cleared a particular kind of a test or a cleared a particular kind of screening kind of option is not necessarily the best person who is really going to be occupying the seat in front of you for the interview and all. So what techniques you employ for interviewing your own candidates? Whether you are sounding more friendly, more polite, more nice and gentle, or you are too much aggressive and kind of, becoming pretty much rough with people, or you just want to try to pressurize candidates, or you just want to really try to test the IQ or the EQ or the KQ of the candidates. Whatever may be the reason, you have your own technique, which is not a foolproof technique. You cannot really sound aggressive and expect that the person sitting in front of you is really going to be giving his best. Or you cannot really be sounding too much polite and too much kind of concerned if you are going to be hiring for a person who has got to demonstrate that toughness in his character. So you have your own techniques which are fundamentally flawed, and you are expecting that with a flawed technique of interview, you are really going to be kind of screening out the wrong candidates and screening in the right kind of candidates. This might sometimes be backfire. Now, Having done the interview process, now we can talk about psychological test. What is that psychological test? You are trying to find out the ability, the special abilities of the people, the habitual characteristics, the personality, the interest, and the achievement of people. Sounds pretty easy, but in the real world, when you're trying to test someone's ability, someone's special abilities, what is so exceptionally good at, what are his habitual characteristics? Is he a kind of person who is an habitual alcoholic, or habitual smoker, or habitual latecomer to office, or habitual womanizer in the office? These are all the necessary negative traits which are going to be avoided at any cost. If you sense that, then your first reaction is not really going to be go beyond this and trying to figure out whether he's technically good or not, or whether he can do the job or not. You are really going to be saying, I'm sorry, you are really going to be saying no to him, because the habit that he possesses is a very strong negative thing going against the culture of your organization. The personality of the individual, whether he is a go-getter, a happy-go-lucky kind of a person, or is very conscious and a thinking kind of a person, a thinking and conscious kind of a person, may not really entirely fit into a sales character. Whereas a person who is an aggressive and smart and go-getter kind of person may immediately fit into sales. That is what the conventional wisdom really always tells us. But yeah, you might be really getting the shock of your life if you really find that, well, the person is pretty shy and reclusive and reluctant or a hesitant kind of a person. He might just go to the market and really try to deal with persons and come back with pretty good kind of good numbers. That may happen, but these are exceptions. In general, we say that the person who is really a smart and aggressive and go-getter kind of a person is more suited to a sales profile than a person who is just demonstrating the opposite kind of qualities. What is the interest of the person? What does he like and what does he really not like? For example, you find that here is a person who likes to, kind of move around, who likes to go out, who likes to really kind of explore places, explore people, and tries and, kind of feels comfortable in talking to multiple kind of people from multiple backgrounds, multiple kind of geographies, and with multiple level of interest and all. So here is a person who is showing the exact kind of interest that is really required of a salesperson. So that interest judgment is also pretty crucial. And what is the achievement? If you are really trying to have people who are going to be really joining senior positions, or even one notch above than the entry level kind of a job, you are always going to be really trying to be pretty cautious about what exactly has he or she been able to achieve in the last job itself. If the achievement doesn't really show good things about his personality, good things about what he has already done, probably you should be wise enough to really stay clear of these kind of people, because they have not really been able to achieve anything in the last 5 years, and chances are that this trend is going to continue. You might argue and kind of come up with a different kind of opinion. What about the freshness of job? Probably he was not really finding the kind of freshness over there, or he had a boss who was more dictatorial than friendly. This might be the reasons for which his achievement is not really coming out in the open. But yeah, you can really try and figure out a trend in that. The trend is that he has never ever really tried to succeed beyond the targets, beyond the boundaries set for him. That is also going to continue in your organization. Evaluation of psychological tests can be done through validity, reliability, and conducive conditions. Of course, yes, you are going to be coming up with multiple tests, which I'm going to be talking about, like your personality test. MBTI is a very famous indicator, Myers-Briggs type indicator. The purpose, the importance, and the application. You are going to be studying the purpose for which the salesperson is going to be recruited, the importance of the position, and the application that this particular test is going to be having for the salesperson. Background check. This is probably the most crucial thing about a fresh individual who is going to be walking into an organization. What is that background check like? You are going to be going to his past, going to his history, and trying to figure out whether a person of that kind of a background is really going to be an asset for me or not. If he has got a criminal record, let's say, God forbid he doesn't have, but if he has a criminal record and he is a person who really kind of enters into arguments and enters into fight and all, that is what really you find out from his own background. Probably you are more wise to really try to not get into people like that. And the thing is references. Whether you are going to be collecting information about his background from the references that he gives, or you are really going to be employing your own people to really try to figure out what kind of background does he have. In both the cases, it really solves one purpose. You are going to be checking the credential of the person, whether he has got the appropriate kind of bent of mind, the appropriate psychology, the appropriate spiritual quotient, knowledge quotient, and emotional quotient to really try and do your job or not. A person having a ruthless attitude towards people and towards events and towards organization is not really going to be a good kind of find for you. Physical examination can be one. Well, you are not going to be recruiting a sick person, a perennially sick kind of person. He is really going to be on leave more days than he's really going to be journeying for work. So who wants a person who is really going to be staying on leave for let's say half of the working time of his? I do not want that kind of person. So physical examination is also pretty important. Now let us understand the Salesforce training part of it. How do you train the salespeople? The stuff that I have discussed till now is really going to be giving you a background knowledge regarding why Salesforce training is really inevitable. Majority of sales skills you appreciate are learned through experience. You go out, meet people, kind of understand what are the likes and dislikes, when they really want to meet with you, when they don't want to meet with you, what is the response if you really meet them, and what is the response if you do not meet them, how they're responding to your kind of sales pitches and all. These are going to be your treasure troves. This is what is really going to be making you a full, complete, total salesperson, because now you're experienced into human psychology. And you might be wondering that what is the need of training? You might just as well go and interact with people and try and come back and have the experience, and ultimately you are going to be the be all and know all of it. But the fact is, each time you really go and meet the same client or the same customer and speak the same way and expect a better response or a different response than what you really have had the last time around, you are really fooling yourself. What needs to be done is, now the sales training team has got to really try to take over from where you really left at that point of time. So they are going to be correcting your mistakes and improving skills. Look, you were rough or rustic in dealing with a sophisticated customer like this. You are going to mend your ways. This is a new way, or this is a different way of approaching a customer. Go practice it. Probably that is going to be making the salesperson realize, yes, he was making a mistake, and he was making a mistake in a recurring way, which, if not really being stopped, is really going to be creating kind of chaos in his behavior with other kind of persons as well. So you are really arresting the wrong things that has been practiced by a salesperson for so many times. You are going to make it make it stop. So what is the logic of training? You might be wondering why this training and why this booming industry of training in the last 10-15 years. If you really try and go out of your own comfort zone and try to understand how training has really kind of gained increasing importance in the last 10-15 years in a country even like India, it is because everybody has now realized, small or medium or big or even the micro type of enterprises, they all have understood one thing, that we have got to train our salespeople, because without training, we are not really going to be generating the kind of response that we are supposed to generate. Why they feel this way? Because now they have understood that it is better to spend time and money on my salespeople than wait for negative results or wait for neutral results by your own sales team. So that is what the logic is. You are trying to be bridging the gap between success and failure. Sounds pretty broad and general, but the fact is, before you really stumble upon failure, you have got to really try to find out, why did I fail? And answer to that is always a resounding, the lack of training kind of answer. Okay, probably if you are well trained, if you really understand the intricacies of human behavior or intricacies of human psychology, and you are really being trained in that kind of pattern, the chances of success becomes more. It doesn't really tell you that, well, you are going to be successful 100% of time, every time. No, not at all. That is not a promise being made by any trainer. But the fact is that they always tell you you are going to be doing much better than what you've really done the last time around. That is an assurance by the training people. Sales performance impact on customer perception. Well, if I understand that, a pretty simple logic. If I go and buy things from retail outlet, then I really observe whether the retail outlet is packed with people or it is really absolutely going empty. If it is going empty, then probably I will feel that well. Probably this retail guy doesn't really have many kind of customers. Probably this retail fellow doesn't really store the up to date kind of products or the most kind of current products and all. So this is again going to be throwing me away from the kind of sales from the retail premises. I might get tempted not to get into it because of the primary reason that there is no one else. If there is no one else, probably everybody cannot be wrong. So that is really shaping my perception negatively towards the retail counter. This is a pretty petty example, pretty small example you can say, but the fact is, you go to a place where you see the crowd, and why you go to the place where you see the crowd, you understand that if there is a crowd, that means the product has to be good, or if the product is really good, then that also can really invite crowd, and I will be safe if I really join the crowd. Then really try to take a kind of digression and get into an empty kind of a place. So training process is pretty interesting. Fine, we all agreed now that training is going to be bridging the gap between success and failure, and sales performance impacts customer perception. Now moving on, let's understand what is the training process like. You have got to identify the training needs and program design. Every organization is not really going to be functioning in the same pattern. Each organization is different. Each organization has got different levels of salespeople working for them. And each and every group of people, they have a totally different, diverse kind of training needs than the other group of people working in the different kind of organization in the same industry. You have got to really appreciate this fact, from word go. You have got to identify the training needs, which is very specific, which has to be customized to suit it to each and every individual organization's sales team or sales pool. And having identified the training needs, the next crucial thing to do is you have to specifically design a program which just about suits the exact specific training needs of the people for whom it is really going to be created. So of course, then when you have designed the program, then you go for the training, conduct the program, and of course, during the conduct of the program, you are not really going to be, kind of approaching the whole crowd as if one size fits all. It's not one size fits all. You have got to have specific, kind of domain of training to be given to specifically identified group of people who might be slow learners or fast learners, or people who are in a hurry to really try to jump into the career, or people who are laggards and lethargic who really do not have that sense of drive, that sense of purpose with them. So for different kind of psychology that you really see it in the total sales pool, you might be really tempted to really try to give them a one size fits all kind of training program. But this is not really going to be giving you the desired results, because individuals have got different orientations, individuals are born different, they have got different kind of training requirements, and they have to really be given what is really needed by them. It is as simple as that. I want this and I should be given this. I do not want the other stuff, don't give me the other stuff. It is pretty simplified kind of a thing. So now the next thing is that when you have already conducted the training program, that should not really stop there. What is more important is your training follow-up. What is your training follow-up? Now the training follow-up tells you, well, how far the people who have been trained have really developed. Are you going to have measuring rods for that? Yes. You should have measuring rods or measuring sticks for that. You are going to be trying to figure out, it's like, past and present. Was like this, is like this. Now, what is that? This tells you that by being given the training that we have really provided to them, they have really taken it pretty seriously. Now, they are going to be really evolving into more trained, more agile kind of salespeople. That's very important to understand. Now, you have to understand, well, what is the process of identifying training needs? How do you define your jobs and tasks? How do you specify the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes of the people? That's pretty crucial to understand. Training needs analysis is a vast topic where you are going to be understanding the jobs that they're doing at the moment, the tasks that they're performing at the moment, the knowledge that they do already have, like a plain graduate versus a technical graduate, a plain technical graduate versus a management kind of qualified graduate. There are three different kind of class of salespeople who are working the same kind of an organization and doing the same kind of routine job, but their knowledge sets, their skill sets, their attitudes towards the job can be totally diverse, totally different from each other. So how do you do it? You are going to be identifying the training needs of people, right? Okay, what do you do about that? You can go for 4 or 5 methods. For example, you can go for self-observation, you can go for reports, you can go for surveys and questionnaires, you can go for face-to-face interviews, and of course you can go for focus groups. What is your self-observation? Self-observation is you are trying to ask the people, come on here, tell me what exactly are you really good at? Tell me what are you exactly not so good at? Tell me what are your gray areas? Tell me what are your kind of dark areas and all. And now you are going to be really creating a pool of people who are almost identical, although human nature is not exactly kind of homogeneous, but still you are going to be finding out people who are almost identical in terms of their own training needs. You can go by reports prepared by the organization, by the kind of people that they are really invited to the organization. You can go by surveys and questionnaire kind of method. You can really go and face-to-face interviews. Probably in face-to-face interviews, you are going to be getting the most desirable response from the respondents. Well, of course, they should be convinced that this face-to-face interview is really going to be kept as a kind of confidential information with the trainer itself. The trainer has got to appreciate the fact that each individual is different, each individual is an individual, and he doesn't want his opinions to be really made public. And probably the most desirable, the most successful way of identifying training needs is by focus groups. Now, what is that focus group training need identification? You are trying to really focus on a group of people who are almost having the same kind of background, same kind of work experience maybe, or the same kind of expectation from the organization, and you have really made a group out of them, and now your entire focus is on that particular kind of a group. That is what can really be done. Now, what can be, just 5 seconds. I'm sorry. So what are the learning styles? It can be activist, a reflector, a theorist, or a pragmatist. Sounds pretty interesting. An activist he is damn determined that I am going to be learning the new skills at any cost because I don't really have that skill. And I understood that this is the skill set that is required in the future. So I cannot really be sounding as if I am really pretty much irrelevant or outdated or redundant in the future. I do not want that kind of tag to be put on me. Second category can be reflectors. Who these reflectors are? People who are really going to be thinking about it, kind of trying to think, well, I could have done it, I should have done it, this is wise to do it, and stuff like that. They are really going to be taking all the kind of trainings and they're really going to think back about it. Did I really kind of perform the right kind of job? Was I really giving the right kind of training inputs? Was it really going to be really helpful for me? Should I have really participated in this particular kind of program? They're always going to be doing a dissection or a kind of, better say dissection, only after the things are over. The theorist is another kind of a guy who really understands nothing about the way of the practical world. He is far away from what is really in practice. So he is really going to be understanding in a kind of a kind of whiteboard marker kind of stuff or a kind of presentation stuff. This is the way it works. This is how the consumers will respond. This is how the market is evolving. This is the long list of my competitors. These are my products and these are my competing products. Go do it. So he doesn't know how to implement that go do it kind of stuff. So what he expects that, well, this is as if the world of action is just an extension of the world of theory. No, it's not really like that. There is another guy who is a pragmatist. He always expects that yes, things are going to be really automatically fall in place and things are really going to be improving, things are really going to be done as per schedule and all. And he is a pretty positive kind of thinker. So how do you really design and conduct the programs? Self-learning modules can be one. You allow the participants to really go for a self-learning kind of a mode where they're really going to be learning on their own. That's pretty interesting. They can really go and learn at their own pace, in their own style, at their own leisure, and really they really do not feel pressurized about it. There can be another method like the conventional classroom training. You bring them to a platform where they all collectively sit together, and of course you are going to be really training them about the new ways of doing things, how to really kind of live aside the past redundant or archaic way of doing things and all. The classroom training can be pretty interesting provided you make it interesting. This is pretty crucial to understand because when people are invited on the floor and they're really going to be listening to you for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, you have got to really have the responsibility of really trying to make it interesting, make it palatable, so to say, so that the classroom training really goes across as a very positive kind of a thing in the trainee's mind. That's pretty interesting. On the job training can be another and the most respected, I would say, and the most practiced, rather, I would say, by all the trainees. They expect that, look, hold my hand and show me the way. This is the way the machine is to be performed. Come, tell me, be with me, when I'm really working on a machine. Don't bring me to the classroom and tell or draw a picture of a machine and show me a machine through your presentation and all, and tell me, look, this is how the machine really performs. So this is how the machine really does. Bring me to the nearer to the machine. Come, stand by me. See how I'm doing things and tell me what exactly I have really done right and what exactly I have really done wrong. So that is the beauty of on-the-job training, where the training is really being performed as and when the work is being done. Probably that has got more lasting impact than the self-learning modules, than the classroom training, and the other way of really trying to conduct training programs. What should be trainer's ability? We all talked about the training and the trainee, the people who are going to be trained and all, and the training importance and all. Let us try to appreciate what can possibly be the trainer's ability. Can any Tom, Dick, Harry be a trainer? Yes. Can they be effective trainers? A big no. So we are living in a world where the trainer has got to have certain kind of abilities, and he should be really better than the trainees. Otherwise, there is no need of him. Simple. He should possess one thing for sure: the analytical ability, the basic educational abilities, and of course the training technique. See, being a lecturer and trying to lecture people around is one skill. Not being a lecturer but trying to train people and get into their psyche, that is a totally different kind of a skill. A trainer is a thoroughly different person from a conventional teacher, so to say, right? Okay, so the training techniques are a little bit different. They are more practice oriented. They are more like down on the spot, down on the job itself. And the trainer has got to have the understanding of what exactly is the job role that the person is in and what exactly is his expectation from me. And of course, let's not really try to belittle the importance of analytical abilities. That is a must. He should be able to really see through the things that is really trying to tell to other people and all. And of course, the ability of the trainer is not stopping at that. Of course, he has got to be having the basic educational abilities. Otherwise, he cannot really influence people. If I am a failure in my life, in my education and all, let's say I haven't really completed my post-graduation or the graduation or my technical qualification I do not have, and I'm really talking to people who are far more super qualified than I do have. So that is really not going to be really, kind of finding the best kind of taking from the participants. Okay, you have got to ensure participants' participation, of course, and the course organizer. That is again a job of yours. Now, what is training follow-up and future course of action? Checklist for evaluation is improved selling performance. Like I told you, if you are imparting some kind of skills, you are going to be expecting that the result is going to be coming your way. Market share has gone up. You can conduct written test, field observation you can do, you can go for customer feedback, or you can go for role play assignments for that. So you are going to be evaluating people for the future course of action. And okay, now we have really understood three, four things like the importance of recruitment, selection, and training responsibilities, sales manager analysis, applicant evaluation methods, training importance, process, and evaluation components. I think the out of all the technical terms that we have used during the course of discussion, the key words to remember are patterned interview, unstructured interview, semi-structured interview, stress interview. Let me just throw some light on this, kind of things. What is a pattern interview? The pattern interview is really going to be following a particular kind of a, flow. This is according to a systematic way of really moving up. In unstructured interview, there is no kind of a structure really being made. You are really going to be interviewing the candidate as per your own whim and mood and fancy and fantasies. Okay. And a semi-structured interview is again just a little bit of combination between structured and unstructured kind of interview. And stress interview is more dangerous, the most dangerous among them all, because you are deliberately trying to keep the interviewer in a stressful situation so that you are trying to judge how good is he in handling stress. That's very important to understand. And you have got to understand the rating scales, the psychological testing, test validity, test reliability, and of course, training needs, self-learner module, on-the-job training, designing and conducting the program, and trainer's abilities we have already discussed, and training follow-up, checklist for evaluation, that is a must for a successful finish of your training requirements. Thank you, all of you, for being so patient and so kind to listen to this one long hour of session. Thank you all.